Sooner or later, he's gonna find out who I am, and he's gonna kill me.
This week on Ebert and Roeper, an early review of Jack Nicholson, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Matt Damon and Martin Scorsese's The Departed.
Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher in The Guardian.
And Billy Bob Thornton and John Heder in School for Scoundrels.
I got an informer in my outfit. Cop. State East, Boston Police Department.
You sure it's not the FBI?
You know, past days, situations like this, I kill everybody. Everybody that works for me.
Jack Nicholson tries to sniff out a rat in Martin Scorsese's The Departed. I'm Richard Roeper, and sitting in for Roger for the second time. He's back, the writer and director of the Clerks movies, Chasing Amy and Mallrats. Mr. Kevin Smith, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, sir. It's so close to Halloween, I came in costume.
Nice.
All I'm missing is the backwards base, but I own one coat in the world. And sadly, I used it in a movie, and now, unfortunately, I have to wear it in real life. And you can't find a fat man coat in this world. I'm telling you, it's tough.
Words to live by.
Yes. Okay, the first movie, as we know, is The Departed. And they say there are only two art forms native to the United States, jazz and comic books. And if I could add a third to that short list, it'd be Martin Scorsese pictures. Yes, one of the 5 best filmmakers who ever breathed is back to reclaim the mean street genre he reinvented decades back. The Departed is a remake of the 2002 Hong Kong crime thriller Infernal Affairs, and it's the story of two moles, a wolf in sheep's clothing working for the Boston mob, and a hard-case good guy deep undercover for the Massachusetts State Police, who infiltrate one another's respective turfs and play a Southie-style wicked smart game of cat and mouse. In his third outing with Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio is Billy Costigan, the fresh out of the police academy statey Martin Sheen and Mark Wahlberg's hush-hush unit recruit to send into a Boston crime lord's organization.
You want to serve the Commonwealth, this is your chance. We need you, pal. You've already pretended to be a Costigan from South Boston.
Every weekend, Sergeant.
Perfect.
Do it again. For me.
What none of them know is that the mob's already got a black op of their own going, courtesy of Matt Damon. He plays Colin Sullivan, an ambitious, deceptive, and devilishly charming badge whose loyalties lie more with the crooks than the cops.
You better get organized, quick.
Hey, last time I checked, I tipped you off, and you're not in jail.
Getting the feeling we got a cop in my crew.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of getting that feeling, too.
He's one of yours. Inside.
Look, Frank, if you don't relax, I can't relax.
The man vying for the souls of the moles is Frank Costello, the psychotic mob boss played by screen legend Jack Nicholson.
Well, out of the Stadies and send you after me. I just can't know.
Scorsese's a master storyteller. Backing him up is an all-star cast led by a pair of career-best performances from Damon and DiCaprio, as well as sublime supporting performances by Alec Baldwin, Ray Winstone, Martin Sheen, Mark Wahlberg, and Vera Farmiga. And even though Nicholson's doing a variation on his Batman and Witches of Eastwick Evil Incarnate roles, he's still one of the most fun actors to watch at work. This marks the first time the acting and directing icons have ever teamed up, and hopefully it won't be the last. I give The Departed a massive thumbs up.
Best movie I've seen so far this year.
Really?
I love your comparison to movies like Mean Streets, and obviously there's some echoes of Goodfellas.
The thing is, like, most people will go in there and be like, well, it's not Goodfellas, it's not Casino, but he's done those movies, and in a world where, like, The Sopranos has kind of taken the mob ball and ran with it, he's kind of recreated
this
the
has
genre.
More of an edge. I like the fact in this very opening monologue, Nicholson's Frank Costello spews this racial slur, which lets us know right off the bat he's not going to be cuddly Jack. He's not going to do the eyebrow tricks and all the things. He's a killer. He's a guy who's literally got blood on his hands. We're not supposed to like him.
There's an insane scene of tension, and it's one of those scenes where you're like, wow, they did it without any dialogue. When at one point in the movie, Matt Damon's character uses the phone of the guy who's in charge of the undercover unit to call Leonardo DiCaprio, and they don't know who each other really are. And there's this quiet, like, felt like minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe, where they're just on the phone listening to one another breathe without speaking, and it's more gripping than anything you've seen in a horror movie
because
in the last 5
it has
years.
earned that moment, Kevin, with all the great stuff that has come before that. This is a great film. I'm so thrilled that we're getting into that time of year where we're getting these great movies. I got another one for you, and believe it or not, I don't think Jack Nicholson's Frank Costello is the most evil character to be featured
I might agree
in
with
a
you.
movie on this show, because our next movie features Forrest Whitaker, who's been one of our most interesting actors for 20 years, and he gives the performance of a lifetime in The Last King of Scotland. This work also is sure to generate serious Oscar buzz. Whitaker is covered in sweat and madness as Idi Amin, the ferociously charismatic and murderously paranoid dictator who ruled Uganda in the 1970s. But interestingly enough, this film is based on a novel, and we actually see the story through the experiences of a composite character, a white Scottish doctor.
I want you to tell me what to do.
You want me to tell you what to do?
Yes, you are my advisor. You are the only one I can trust in here. You should have told me not to throw the Asians out in the first place. I did, but you did not persuade me, Nicholas. You did not persuade me.
That's James McAvoy in a strong performance as Nicholas, but I wish the film had spent more time with Amin and less time with the doctor and his relationships, including encounters with Gillian Anderson and Kerry Washington, who plays one of Amin's wives. As enemies, real and imagined, disappear, the world press begins to focus on the genocide in Uganda. At the urging of Nicholas, Amin holds a press conference and turns on the charm.
I have created the Save Britain Fund. We Ugandans, we like to help our friends. So, the Ugandans have got together and saved 3 tons of food and the vegetables for their friends in England. Because they are having economic difficulties, let me assure you here.
The film is most effective when Whitaker is center stage, whether he's holding court with an audience of one or hosting a sprawling orgy of music, food, drink, and sex. Whitaker makes us see just how this monster was able to seduce a nation until the blood finally washed away that con job. Big thumbs up for this one as well.
I give it a big thumbs up, too. This was the movie that I probably didn't know what to expect based on the title. And Forrest Whitaker, if they don't run him for Best Supporting Actor right now, it's his finest hour. And this is a guy who's always turned in really great work.
It's interesting that you talk about him as a supporting actor here, though, because I do think that's the flaw with this film. We get this creation. I'm sure it was a good novel. It got great, great reviews.
Right.
But to have this fictional character, when you've got somebody from real life who was larger than life and had such an amazing, horrific run leading this country, into decline, I want more of that and less of this doctor running around chasing Gillian Anderson and Kerry Washington.
But for me, it's like if there was more Amin, it might be too much of a good thing, and at a certain point, you'd be inured to what a horrible human being he was. At least you take breathing moments with the main character, the McAvoy's doctor, before you jump back into the world of Amin. Because if you don't know the history of Idi Amin and you go into this movie, at first you're as charmed as the entire nation of Uganda was. Where it's just like, wow, what a personable guy.
This guy's going to save us.
And then very slowly, it's revealed how absolutely paranoid and murderously paranoid the man was. It's worth going just to see Forrest Whitaker, who's definitely, I think, is going to win Best Supporting Actor this year.
It's great work.
I hope. I'm voting. Later in the show, Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher star in The Guardian, and next, it's Ashton Kutcher yet again, this time voicing Open Season.
Hi, Jay Bush.
I can't fish, I can't climb a tree, I can't even go in the woods.
That's nothing. Half dough, half buck. I'm a duck.
Hey, I ride a unicycle for crackers.
I have a glass eye.
I can't snap.
I thought log was a color.
If you ever watched Punk'd and thought, man, Ashton Kutcher will do anything for a buck, guess what? Thank you. That's literally true now because he provides the voice of Elliot the Buck in our next movie, Open Season, an animated flick about big old bears, nutty squirrels, and find your place in the cruel, harsh world. Dr. Seuss, eat your heart out. Open Season doesn't reinvent the wheel like Toy Story or The Incredibles, but it's still a worthy addition to the cartoon canon.
Okay, Denny, let's round him up.
All right, ladies, let her rip.
The story's sweet, the voices are good, the animation's easy to look at, and it's got a couple laugh-out-loud moments. If your kids like poop jokes as much as I do, Open Season will put a big smile on their faces, and maybe even yours. I know you hated this movie. I could tell. Black heart seething from your eyes, you're just like, how could you like it?
Yeah, pretty much. Right. Yeah, I didn't hate it, but
that's why I wore this coat, because you're so cold-hearted. It fills the room,
and I feel my vibe.
What didn't you like about it?
I think part of the problem here for me, Kevin, is it's like the 5th movie I've seen where you've got the animals in the wild, and they're domesticated, then they're not, and you get the scenes of them eating human food, and how good is human food, so it feels very repetitive.
I can think of one other one.
There was Madagascar, there was Over the Hedge. Trust me, I've sat through.
What are the other 3?
It felt like 9, okay? Trust me. It's just okay.
Do you have kids?
The animation, no. The animation
That's the thing, I got kids.
Uninspired.
I sit through a lot of this stuff.
That's great. You know what? When I get the DVD of this in a couple of months, I'll send it to you. You and the kids can watch it. I'll have long forgotten about it.
What did you watch, like the McNeil Lair Hour growing up? Like, how could you not appreciate a cartoon?
I watched Love American Style growing up, but that's a whole other show. Thumbs down for me, thumbs up for you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Coming up next, it's more Kutcher. Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher save lives in The Guardian.
The Audi A4, with the 2006 Ward's 10 Best engine, the world's first turbocharged engine with race-proven FSI direct injection technology.
Looking at movies now in theaters, which I reviewed with last week's guest critic, Fred Willard. Johnny Knoxville and Friends and Jackass #2, it got 2 thumbs up. Jet Li's Fearless got 2 thumbs up. And Sean Penn, Jude Law, and Sir Anthony Hopkins and All the King's Men, which got a thumbs up from Fred and a thumbs down from me. So somehow in this world, Johnny Knoxville's getting a thumbs up and Sean Penn's getting a thumbs down, but it's all about the material.
You hate cartoons.
And I don't like some cartoons. Our next movie, speaking of cartoons, our next movie is The Guardian, and it's a Coast Guard version of Top Gun crossed with a dumbed-down, cornier version of An Officer and a Gentleman. Kevin Costner takes the Louis Gossett role, and Ashton Kutcher, he's back again with the Richard Gere part. Costner plays Ben Randall, a legendary Coast Guard rescue swimmer who is temporarily assigned to an instructor gig. Kutcher, whose cinematic resume, including now Open Season, also includes smirking and having good hair and crap like Just Married, My Boss's Daughter, Guess Who, and A Lot Like Love, plays hotshot recruit Jake Fisher.
Fish, why are you here, Fish?
I'm here to exceed your expectations, Senior Chief. I'm a rescue swimmer at heart, born, bred, and water-fed. Hoorah!
Wow, I bet you practiced that all morning.
You think a movie like this is going to have a training sequence? I know. How about a montage, and we can set it to music?
I'm a rescue swimmer, yes I am!
Director Andrew Davis, who did The Fugitive, knows how to stage elaborate action and rescue sequences. All very well done, but really not that exciting. After more false endings than the last Lord of the Rings movie, The Guardian reaches a howler of a conclusion. We're actually supposed to believe that, well, I don't want to give it away, but we're really supposed to believe something that's unbelievable. It's one of the most ludicrous final sequences in recent memory. That would be a thumbs down.
You're jaded, man. You see too many movies. I liked it. This is one movie that I was like, I ain't looking forward to this.
Wow.
I've never seen a movie about the Coast Guard before. I actually thought it was kind of interesting. I've never seen Ashton Kutcher in anything before. I've never seen any of the movies you listed.
Congratulations.
This was my first Ashton Kutcher experience. I thought he was fine for what he needed to do. I like Kevin Costner. I think Andrew Davis should get a pass. Here in the heart of Chicago, the man made one of the greatest Chicago movies of all time, The Fugitive, for
Absolutely,
God's sakes.
yeah.
He should be canonized in this state, in the city.
I urge everyone to rent The Fugitive.
But it's total programmer, but like, this is a movie, I sat there watching it going like, you know what, my old man would have loved this movie. This was right up his alley. So like, is it for the horse and pony set? No. Is it for people that like to go out and...
Is it for smart people? No. I mean, what are you telling me here? You're telling me you liked it
I'm telling you my dad was an idiot. He would have liked this movie.
No, you're telling me that Andrew Davis is a good director because he made The Fugitive. I agree. You're telling me that your dad would have liked this movie, and you're telling me that you're admitting that it's by the numbers.
Yes.
So you're basically telling me I'm right in giving it thumbs down.
This movie, you leave your brain at the door. You don't have to think whatsoever.
I like to bring my brain in with me and buy it some popcorn.
But for some movies, that's totally fine. I agree with you. But some movies, you just want to sit back and be like, wow, is that what the Coast Guard really does? And also, big thumbs up for their CG in this movie, which I thought was flawless. You couldn't kind of differentiate between the real-life stuff and the stuff they had created. Well-made cheese. Let's just leave it at that.
Well-made cheese, fine. I'll let you have the last word on that.
Our next film comes courtesy of acclaimed British director Stephen Frears, who examines the monarchy with The Queen, a meditation on the long week between the death of Princess Diana and the first public statement on the subject by the royals. The always amazing Helen Mirren gives a pitch-perfect, restrained, yet oddly moving portrayal of Queen Elizabeth II, a woman so aloof and removed she has a hard time relating to a realm of subjects she rules in title only. In this scene, she stands on outdated ceremony when meeting with recently elected Prime Minister Tony Blair, played by Michael Sheen.
Have we shown you how to start a nuclear war yet?
No.
Oh, first thing we do, apparently. Then we take away your passport and spend the rest of the time sending you around the world.
You obviously know my job better than I do.
Yes, well, you are my 10th Prime Minister, Mr. Blair.
After learning of her former daughter-in-law's death in Paris, Her Royal Highness opts against any press releases or public acknowledgement about Diana's passing, much to the chagrin of Blair, who fears that England's need for sympathy and reassurance is being overlooked by the overly sheltered members of the monarchy.
The public, ma'am. the British people.
You don't think a private funeral might be denying them a chance?
A chance to what? This is a family funeral, Mr. Blair, not a fairground attraction.
If you can imagine George Bush refusing to immediately acknowledge the events of 9/11, you might have an idea of what the Queen's silence of Diana's death meant to the British. Frears does a good job of portraying the royals as not so much cold, emotionless figureheads as anachronistic casualties, somewhat lost in time and trapped by tradition. But Helen Mirren raises the whole endeavor out of Hallmark Hall of Fame TV movie territory and single-handedly earns the film a thumbs up.
Big thumbs up for me, Kevin. And you talk about the different styles of acting. You know, in movies like The Last King of Scotland, Forrest Whitaker and DiCaprio and Damon and Nicholson in The Departed, where they get to play big and almost do operatic type acting.
This
and
is
here,
the other end of the
it's Helen Mirren,
spectrum,
and it's her face, and it's Oscar level work.
Absolutely.
I love this film. It's the shades that we see, and we see how Tony Blair eventually almost comes to the defense of the Queen, saying, people don't understand, you know, this is 400 years, 500 years
and
of
it takes
ingrained in
the
this
movie
family.
to come to that, because at first he's one of those people that's just like, these royals are nuts.
Somebody save these people from themselves,
yeah,
he says at one
many
point. You know, I think it's beautifully written, and the acting is just pinpoint.
And this
just
is a woman,
perfect.
too, who, I mean, she's a phenomenal actress, going as far back as Excalibur, and as recently as the Elizabeth that she won an Emmy for on HBO. And whereas that's a portrayal of a person that none of us have ever known, and she can go hog wild with it.
That's true.
She's doing the very difficult job of playing somebody we're all familiar with. So not only do you have to get their inflection down, but you can't kind of go nuts with it.
No, nor can it
risk
just be an impersonation.
the
It can't just be, oh, look, let me imitate
imitate
this person. So, I mean, just great acting.
And she'll definitely be running for
no doubt
her
about
big
that.
time for best actress.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've also caught a couple of movies you haven't had a chance to see yet. 2 politically incorrect comedies filled with below-the-belt humor. In School for Scoundrels, Billy Bob Thornton runs a top-secret class for losers and wimps. Napoleon Dynamite, I mean John Heater, is the top nerd in the class.
How many of you retards own a self-help book? That's your first problem. You can't help yourself because yourself sucks.
Things get increasingly dopey in the final act, leading to an incredibly stupid ending, but I have to admit I laughed just enough to recommend School for Scoundrels. And that pretty much holds true for the low-budget, low-brow Artie Lange's Beer League. The corpulent comic and stern sidekick stretches his acting muscles about 2 inches to play a wisecracking, booze-guzzling, coke-snorting New Jersey mama's boy.
Pop up! You got it! Jesus.
Beer League is raunchy and tacky, but it's a hell of a lot funnier than something like Failure to Launch, which addressed similar material and characters in a safe, yawn-inducing fashion, so I'm going to give it thumbs up.
How is it that I see The Queen and I don't see the 2 movies that you would imagine that I would see?
The Queen's Beer League would be good, actually.
Pretty much. Yeah, I didn't get to see either, but I mean, high recommendations, which befuddles me. You're a strange man. You're an unknowable enigma, sir.
I take that as a huge compliment. Okay, when we come back, the best titles on DVD in the Thumbs Up video segment. But first, let's take a look at what guest critic Zoriana Kitt and I will review on next week's show.
The Bible is full of sex. Haven't you noticed?
The Bible?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you taking us? Where are you taking us, sir?
If you love biscuits, Hot Pockets brings all your breakfast favorites.
Okay, looking at movies new on DVD, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. It got a thumbs up from Roger and a thumbs down from me. Edward Norton in Down in the Valley got 2 thumbs down. And Gretchen Mol and the Notorious Betty Page, that got 2 thumbs up. And I also have a video pick for you. Thank You for Smoking. Aaron Eckhart is terrific as this tobacco lobbyist. It was one of my favorite books from about 10 years ago, Christopher Buckley's novel, and they did a really nice job of adapting it. Very funny.
Ivan Reitman's kid made it, right?
Yeah, and really, you know, talk about a debut.
I met him in Sundance.
Kids got talent.
Nice guy, and yeah, that movie, tons of great reviews.
Yeah,
and did really well
funny.
at the box office.
Very funny film.
I'm going to go with, for a DVD pick, Battlestar Galactica, season 2.5. And contain that smile, my friend. That's the smile of somebody who's never watched the show.
You're right, I haven't. I have to admit I haven't.
That's right. It is the smartest show on television right now. The show is a fascinating allegory on the war on terror, about the war on terror. It is so gripping, so well written, less sci-fi, more drama than anything else.
You know, I got to tell you, I feel like a viewer on my own show here because I'm listening to you and you've
give it a look.
I'm going to give it a shot.
If I'm wrong, make fun of me, call me a geeky fanboy, but I'm telling you, it's like you'll sit there going, like, this is
that's high
astounding.
praise. I respect that, and I'll give it a shot. Okay, so Battlestar Galactica Season 2.5 is available now, and Thank You for Smoking will be in stores on Tuesday. And we'll be back to recap this week's show right after this.
Close. ABC 7 was
Okay, recapping the movies on this week's show. 2 massive thumbs up for The Departed. It opens next week. 2 big thumbs up for The Last King of Scotland, particularly Forrest Whitaker's performance.
Absolutely.
We split on open season.
Yes,
we split again on The Guardian.
You're too easy.
You're too hateful. And 2 thumbs up for The Queen.
A lot of good movies there.
Sounded vaguely dirty, didn't it?
Yeah, it did a little bit. At least 3 good movies on this show.
Yes.
And also, Roger Ebert has come out with a book called Awake in the Dark. It's a collection of some of his best writing. And, you know, as much as I love doing the show with Roger and watching the show with Roger and Gene all these years, Roger's also just one of the best pure writers I've ever had the experience of reading, and this is a terrific book.
And hopefully he'll be back damn soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until then, though, I'm happy to take a seat.
Thanks for filling in again. It's a great
Thank you
show.
for having
Appreciate
me.
it. All right, my friend, we'll be back again soon, I hope sometime. Until then, the balcony is closed.